Falcon fans, Falcon Nation, it's your boys, Dirty Fanatics United, back with episode number 45 coming at you live on a Saturday night. Podcast moved from Friday, moved to a Saturday night at 8. It's your boy Chase, my co-host Philip, my other co-host Cody. We back, Dirty Fanatics United. How we doing? Philip, what's going on, brother?
It's been an eventful week. Started out sick at the beginning of the week. We're doing better now. We had the baby gender reveal yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Other than that, it's been a little exciting. Other than that,
Cody, brother, it's been a minute since we talked. Obviously, we chat all the time in our groups on Facebook Messenger. But what's been going on, man? What's happened since we last spoke? About to talk some Falcon football, a lot to chat about, and no other than a Falcon fan like yourself to talk about it. So, brother, how you been? What's been going on?
Been doing good, man. Just getting through the work week. Thank God it's the weekend. This week has been a long one, but man, it's always good to get with y'all and talk Falcon football for sure.
Yes, sir. We got a lot to talk about today. Real quick, we'll run through what we'll be chatting about. Tonight's itinerary for the show: Zach Robinson and Jimmy Lake, quarterback carousel, sleeper quarterback picks for Atlanta, big name free agents that could land in Atlanta as well. We'll talk about what players could make the biggest jump heading into season 2 under this regime with the news Zach Robinson, Jimmy Lake, and the new head coach Raheem Morris. And then obviously we'll give our shout outs. Big announcement for tonight. Tonight's show will be the last night for the hashtag DFU to be entered for the free hoodie. And like I said, we're giving away the Julio action figure and a couple more things. So hashtag DFU will be entered into the live raffle tonight. Will be the last night. Jumping straight into it, man. Let's talk some Falcon football. Philip, starting with the first topic. Actually, I'll go to Cody first with this because I feel like he touched up on it a little more. You've been kind of busy this past week, Philip. So, Cody, starting with you, the Zach Robinson and Jimmy Lake interview, man. How are we feeling about this past week? The new head coach, the new coordinators, the Jerry Grays, people that's been here before. They all come in for their first time interview. How are we feeling about this Zach Robinson and Jimmy Lake tandem here in Atlanta?
Absolutely. So I'll start off with Zach Robinson, man. I'm really liking the dude. Just listening to him. First thing I kind of want to talk about is the Desmond Ritter thing, that he addressed. I see a lot of Falcon fans freaking out about, he's talking to all the possibilities with Desmond. It's like, guys, calm down. It's going to be okay. He can't come out and be like, yeah, Desmond's out.
Right.
I feel like, he's definitely got a feel for what we want to do at the quarterback position. So there's definitely a lot of positivity that I see coming from him about the quarterback. So that's been my biggest concern all offseason. What are we going to do at the quarterback position? The other thing that I'm really liking that these guys constantly talk about, and you hear it not just with Robinson and Raw, or all these coaches are talking about collaboration, and it just feels like, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like this is the first time that I've heard a coaching staff that we've had here in Atlanta really talk about wanting to be around each other and enjoying being around each other and collaborating together and wanting to be together and you know seeing each other all the time, because they're sitting there in their offices. I'm really liking it. The other thing that I really like that Zach touched on was when he was talking in his interview there, he started off with the offensive line. I played offensive line for 10 years, so I always love when big men get a little bit of love. So it was neat to hear that that's where he wants to start with the offense, is that offensive unit up front, moving the ball, being physical, running that football. And then also, he of course talking about our weapons, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, talking, obviously he hasn't gotten too much into it just because it is the start of the year, but he is. I'm definitely liking where he's going. Jimmy Lake, I really feel like, man, I love the fact that his whole thing is, when you listen to his interview, he talks about technique. That is such a big thing on defense, is playing your technique, because it does. It means you can be fast, you can be physical, knowing, hey, if I'm here, I know I've got my guy behind me that's, he's got my back. That was another thing that he talked a lot about, like I had said, is the collaboration and the constant, the playing together, man. And
Mm-hmm.
so I really feel like, he talks too about, even though yes, Coach Raw is, a defensive headed guy, he's, that's where he played, that's what he did, that was what, but he really talked about how uh, Raw was going to allow him to have full control of his defense. So I really feel like it's great to see these
Mm-hmm.
guys talking about the unity together and working together, but at the same time knowing, hey, this is my defense to run.
Right.
Um, so I mean, man, I really feel like this staff is going to work well together. I feel like there's a bond there, there's a want to be there. So I'm looking forward to this coaching staff and seeing what they can get done.
Facts. You talk about just the togetherness, man. You look at Raheem Morrison, you look at this regime that he's brought in here with the Zach Robinson, the Jimmy Lake, all familiar faces. The team, the Atlanta Falcons, a familiar face.
Yes.
Raheem Morris really feels like he's at home with the Atlanta Falcons, like you said. It's very important to hear a coach constantly say, Atlanta's home. Atlanta's where I want to be at. This guy wants to be in Atlanta. And at the end of the day, I think that's going to help put us over that hump. That drive and dedication for Atlanta, just in Raheem Morris. We talked about Zach Robinson. This is a guy that we may have with us 2 to 3 years. My expectations for him are through the roof because I believe he'll have a head coaching job in the next 2 or 3 years in the NFL. Hopefully, we can continue over with the success that he's had in LA. Philip, you've heard you obviously have opinions yourself of Jimmy Lake, Zach Robinson. You've looked at the coaching staff. You know who they are. Just your overall opinions on Jimmy Lake, Zach Robinson, Jerry Gray, people that's already been here in the building. How are we feeling about this coaching staff for 2024?
I'm gonna start with Jimmy Lake. The only I think I did see where we are going to be running a 3-4 defense. To me, that to me, I'm excited. Just certain things like that, especially like with the players, like what we got, like that'll bring Troy Anderson back while also having Nate Landman and then also Cade Nellis.
Right.
The
Nate
linebacker.
Landman, a huge name.
And then you could rush Troy Anderson, and that type of scheme is just, I don't know, it just seems fun. Along with other people might give, D'Angelo Malone a chance, and then just certain things and that possibility like that. And then you have Zach Robinson,
Right.
somebody that's willing to work with guys that's already on the team, that's had issues like with development and things like that. But he's not giving up on them, but he's not clarifying that that's their job. He's giving them a heads up. To me, it's a perfect thing to do, especially to boost them up, to make them better. But the direction we're headed, I feel like we're it's a pretty good thing, especially with them being all connected together. Like Cody said, being
Togetherness, man. Togetherness. The new word for the 2024 season, togetherness. Feeling pretty good about this coaching staff, man. I feel like you talked a lot about Jimmy Lake, but how are we feeling about Zach Robinson? How do we feel about this new scheme? He wouldn't give us a specific type of scheme. He just kept saying, I'm gonna put these players out there to go do their best. I'm gonna put these players in a position to go do the best that they can do. So how does that make you feel as your offense coordinator coming in here? He's saying we're doing multiple, baby. We're doing whatever makes Bijan Robinson put up 1,000 yards rushing and receiving. We're doing whatever it takes for Drake London to hit that 1K receiving yard this year. We're doing whatever it takes for Tyler Algier to rush for 1K again, Mr. 1K. Shout out to Tyler Algier.
Yes,
but how are we feeling about Zach Robinson coming in to run this offense? Cody, I'll start with you, and then we'll roll over to Philip. How are we feeling about Zach Robinson and the opportunities that he has with this offense in Atlanta?
Yeah, I feel real good about it. Like you said, I love that he talked about allowing these players to do what they do best. That seemed to be his biggest thing was I'm going to let these players go out and do their thing. If I'm not mistaken, he talked about the players getting in, and I know the players haven't reported yet, but it's really seemed like they've kind of talked to the players about, hey, what do you see, or what do you need, or what do we need to do to make you successful, and how can we make you successful? So I really feel like this offense is getting ready to explode. I can see easily having 2,000-yard rushers with Bijan and Tyler. I can see Kyle Pitts finally really getting into the end zone and stuff with Robinson here, it just feels like from the bottom up, man, that it's everybody's just finding a way to be successful at what they do and do what they do best.
Facts. Philip, you heard what Cody said. You have your own feelings about Zach Robinson. What is the ceiling for this offense this season? Chat, please tune in. Leave a comment in the comment section. What is the big deal about Zach Robinson? What will he do for Atlanta in this offseason? Philip, your thoughts on Zach Robinson. How will this offense look this season?
My thoughts on him is for him to go above and beyond, just something we abnormally just don't have, which is offensive struggle. And that's what we did have this past kind of 2 seasons. I feel like for somebody like him to come in and work in with these guys, I feel like he's going to boost these guys up, specifically the QB situation, whether it's Dez or somebody else, he's going to be there and help his guy be the best of the ability that he can, unlike what previous coaches have done with our, recent team, certain things like that. Offensive style, I feel like it's going to be more, like it was in LA, it's going to be more West Coast, offensive, style, which is what I love. That's what we thrived in back in 2016 with Kyle Shanahan. So, I'm excited to see that again, especially with players like Bijan that are really offensively rostered than what we did then, besides the QB position. So I'm excited to see that.
Facts, man. The chat's here popping off. Shout out to Brandon Keeley with his thoughts here on this offense. He said, Zach runs a spread. It's the style we are built for. I'd be willing to bet Kyle Pitt has a breakout season. Philip, Cody, I'm sure y'all are biggest fans of Kyle Pitts, just as big of a fan as I am for Kyle Pitts. I'd say, as of right now on the offense, him and Bijan, and I would say Drake running as well, or all three are running a tight race for my favorite Falcon right now. Would love to see Kyle Pitts have a breakout season. You haven't really seen that since his rookie year. And hashtag Matt Ryan was why he had such a great season that year. You got to have a quarterback to get him the ball. Us people in Atlanta, I won't say us because not I at all, but a lot of people hated on the quarterback we had here in Atlanta for years, and now it's kind of biting them in the rear end about it. So forever respect for Matty Ice here on Dirty Fanatics United. And shout out to you, Brandon Killer, for your thoughts on who or what could happen here in Atlanta this offseason. Philip, headed to our next subject, man. We're going to jump right on into it. Quarterbacks in Atlanta. Quarterback carousel is what we're calling this channel for tonight. Quarterback carousel in Atlanta. Who could land in Atlanta? There's so many different options. I'll throw a couple names out there. We're going to do tonight what we call like a situational event, right? I'm going to give you a situation. Both guys here, Cody and Philip, will give you an answer of what they think should happen in this type of situation. Situation one for tonight. The Atlanta Falcons go out. They pick a Russell Wilson. That's your bet heading into the league. That's who you start out with. Okay, you go and you draft in the second round at J.J. McCarthy. If he's sitting there in the second round, you draft at J.J. McCarthy, right? Okay. What is the ceiling for that team, and what needs to be done that season? Starting with you, Philip, and then we'll rotate to Cody.
Well, me personally, I've been saying J.J. McCarthy, I feel like, before anybody else has. So if we have a vet like Russ that's like in there that is also ahead of him, basically training him in a way, they leadership basically is what it is. Mm-hmm. They kind of play similar in a certain way, their type of play style. I feel like, with that, it'd be like a easy, like, I feel like it would be an easy not really must win, but like it would be better than what we had this past season. Like, it'd be, I feel like we'd have more wins than what we previously had.
Right.
Just a certain play style. And it also, I feel like it just in a way it fits the type of scheme that Zach Robinson runs anyway. It just feels like it's, I don't know, like it's kind of, I don't know how to say it. Like it just feels like it's gonna happen in a way. Right. But I'm excited if that's what the scenario is. I'm not gonna complain one bit.
Cody, scenario one for tonight. We get a Russell Wilson. You draft a young guy like JJ to. And I'm guessing maybe if you go and you draft a young guy like JJ in the second, something crazy like that, you'll probably part ways with Desmond Ridder, if I could guess. I don't know if you'd rock on with two young guys like that. If Ritter's not the option, that's the only way I'm drafting another guy in a later round. But really the main question is, how are we feeling about Russell Wilson? What is the ceiling for that team, and pretty much what is the standard? What is Arthur Blank expecting if we go out and we make this big bet move like a Russell Wilson or a Kirk Cousins? If we were to happen to pay the $95 million for 2 years for a Kirk Cousins that just came off of an injury, what are we thinking this offense ceiling is, and what is the standard that Arthur Blank is putting out for Raheem Morris?
Yeah, so I think if we go out and get a Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, draft somebody young to sit behind like a Jaden Daniels, to learn from Russ or learn from Kirk, I really feel like my ceiling for that team has got to be the NFC Championship. There's no way that you could go in with. I feel like the talent that we have, where our defense is at, you bring in somebody that's proven like a Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson. That team not only has to win the division and win that division, our division, convincingly. NFC Championship is what. If I was Mr. Blank, I'm saying I need an NFC Championship out of y'all.
No,
Uh,
no doubt.
I just feel like there's too much talent with a proven quarterback like that to be like, maybe get in the playoffs, make a little bit of noise. NFC Championship or bust at that point. I mean, Super Bowl or bust, obviously, but my bare minimum would be I need an NFC Championship out of y'all.
100%. I think that's kind of what I would have to hold him at that standard, and I believe everybody here in this chat would as well. You talk about paying a guy like Kirk Cousins, man. That's a big payday. If he really wants, if he really wants the money that he says he wants, I think a team has to put in a lot of consideration of what they do with that type of move. Philip, you know as well as I do, the Atlanta Falcons were in cap space hell with a Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, Tony Gonzalez at one point, Roddy White. And that's obviously because a lot of things weren't put in perspective back in the day. But you don't want to get caught back into that situation with a quarterback that you don't 100% know will take you back to the playoffs. We've seen it happen in NFL. No shot at Matt Ryan, but let's look at Matty Ice when he went to Indianapolis. That was supposed to be the year. That was supposed to be the team to take the Colts to the Super Bowl, and it didn't happen that way. The bet doesn't always pan out. That's why in my quarterback carousel, I'm kind of leaning for the rookie to kind of come around and place in Atlanta, just because I thought we could build off of that for the next 4 years, have a competitive team. I mean, guys, can we all agree if we were the Texans fan base right now, we'd be pretty damn happy about how our team's looking?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so let's imagine Atlanta taking, even if you don't go, you go to the first round, you go to a wild card game with a rookie quarterback next year, your first head coach in Raheem Morris, his first year, a Zach Robinson already getting offers to go be a head coach somewhere else. That's the kind of season I'm hoping for here in Atlanta. But I will give you another quarterback carousel question number 2, starting with Philip. Philip, if the Atlanta Falcons go and make the trade for Justin Fields, I'm gonna lay out what we trade for him. I'm gonna let you know where we're at, and you're gonna give me the ceiling of what you think this team must do, just going off of the situation of what we traded for him and what's coming up the following year. Okay, the Atlanta Falcons say they trade for Justin Fields. We give away our second-round pick. The Jaguars do not re-sign Calvin Ridley, so we don't get that second pick. Okay, we don't get that second-round pick. But, I mean, let's talk about that real quick before we just go out and say that. Do we think the Jaguars re-sign Calvin Ridley?
If they do, let's just say it's going to be – I feel like it's going to be cheap. I just don't see them paying him big.
But as long as he just gets to re-sign, I think we get the second regardless, correct?
No. For us to get the second-round pick, he has to sign long-term.
So we get like a third or something off of it?
Yeah. I mean,
okay, so let's just say they don't sign him, right? We don't get the second round pick for him. Okay, let's just say at the end of the day we don't get that. So the Falcons trade the second and the third round pick to the Chicago Bears for Justin Fields. Okay, we stay at pick number 8. We select a Daniel Turner or a Dallas Turner or the guy we selected the other night on our mock draft, the tackle. We take the tackle route, or we go with the UCLA edge guy. Something like that. Okay, what is the perspective for that team? What is the roof? What is the standard for that season with a Justin Fields, a Desmond Ridder at the backup? We traded away draft picks for this guy. What is the standard for that season?
To me, it's basically what you had this year. It's pretty much the same. The
Well,
inconsistency.
no, I see what you're saying. I understand how you feel about Justin Fields, but I'm saying, what is it that the fan base and Arthur Blank will hold that team to? Like, what is the win column that this team should be under if we trade for a Justin Fields? What is the standard?
The standard that they would want is playoffs. Really, that's what I feel like it'll be that's what they would want. Pretty much with anybody, I feel like would be pretty much playoffs contentions, whether it's win first round or not. Just get back to the playoffs.
So no matter who you go grab at quarterback, we can agree on this. No matter who you grab, your intentions are this year the Atlanta Falcons should be winning the NFC South, and we should be winning a playoff game. Correct?
Right.
We can all agree on that. Cody, you agree with that?
Absolutely.
So, Cody, what is your thoughts and what is the standard for a Justin Fields trading away draft picks for a Justin Fields staying at 8, passing up on the other rookies that were available in this draft? You take a Dallas Turner if he's available, or you go the receiver route or a tackle. What is the standard for that team, and how long do you go Justin Fields, being that the following year you must sign him a pretty healthy contract?
So my standard at that point is, if you do all that, Justin Fields has to prove to me right then, right here, this year, you are the future of this franchise. You cannot show me that, oh, maybe I can be. You cannot play like Desmond Ritter 2.0. You cannot have these ups and downs. You have to prove to me that you're the guy, because that's what I keep hearing about Justin Fields, is that you're the guy.
Yeah.
So standard minimum, again, you win the NFC South, you do it convincingly, and then you get in the playoffs. And we're not talking get in the playoffs and then get bounced. Playoffs, you win one, you hopefully can get into that third seed area, maybe get a home playoff win. I wouldn't expect NFC championship out of Justin Fields, but again, bare minimum, you're telling me right now that you're my franchise quarterback going into the future. If I'm giving that up and I'm getting ready to pay you, you've got to show me that you're my future.
Facts.
But yeah, that's where I'd be with it. I'm sure that's where a lot of people would be with it.
Facts. Shout out to James Michael Brown over on Facebook. He said, "What am I missing on JJ McCarthy? He doesn't seem like a pure passer, just a game manager. I think I'd rather have a Bo Nix than JJ." As every fan, everybody has their own opinions on what quarterback they like in Atlanta or who they don't like. But we will go around the table and answer Mr. James' question here. And James, if you haven't already, head over to YouTube, brother. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and most definitely hit that like button. I'll start it off with the JJ McCarthy and the Bo Nix. Okay, personally, when I was hearing the JJ McCarthy first round buzz, I'm sending throw up emojis in every group chat that I'm in when I hear JJ McCarthy in the first round. I'm sorry, but JJ McCarthy to me does not happen in the first round. I don't even think you go out and take a Bo Nix in the first round. That's why I say a JJ in the second round. Maybe I could see something like that happen if he's still there. You can maybe get that guy. But to me, I wouldn't rather have Bo Nix either. To me, he stayed in college a little too long. The game kind of progressed faster than I think he could handle. That's why he never came out and went to the draft. But JJ McCarthy, if I'm going to talk about some of his positives, JJ McCarthy, when he's got a clean pocket, can definitely put the ball where it needs to be. He's pretty spot on with his accuracy. He doesn't have that cannon of an arm, but he's a guy that can make the plays. Just look at Brock Purdy. JJ McCarthy is another Brock Purdy. He's a guy that can sit in the pocket, can make the quick passes. He gets the ball out before the passes or before the defense is in his face. And he's got that little edge of a scramble that can make a big break for a game. Brock Purdy's a solid guy. He was a late draft pick, just like a JJ McCarthy. The hype's not around his name, but he's a guy that can win games, I believe, in the NFL. Is he a franchise quarterback? In my opinion, no. But that's for a whole other conversation. Philip, head it over to you. Just answer Mr. James' question here on Facebook.
Kind of like what you said. I agree with him in the pocket and everything. But what also him being the term game manager, I feel like that's what all QBs are in a way. Mm-hmm. They manage the game. But they also have certain abilities along with them that helps them manage that game. Like you said, with the pocket passing. With a clear pocket, he can pass it all day long, or being rushed, he can take it out for a few yards or a good big gain. You just never know. But if say he comes here to Atlanta with the offense that we have, like the weapons that we have, if you say game manager, that's all we would really need you to do is just manage the game here in Atlanta. We don't need you to be spectacular. We don't need you to be above and beyond. Just be a normal quarterback.
Yeah, but to me, Phil, as the quarterback, and this is where the game manager thing, the title comes into play. Atlanta Falcon fans are so caught up on the Michael Vick, the Matt Ryan era. These are players that they were game. You could give them the title game manager, but these guys had a finish and had a reasoning of why they were winning games in Atlanta. They won't, and every fan does. It's the right for every fan to want their quarterback to be the best in the NFL. I understand it. That's why I think a JJ McCarthy in the first round is just chaotic.
I'm not saying taking first round. Maybe late first round, second. You trade back late first round or beginning of the second round, maybe. But people are willing to see, like you mentioned, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, gave him a chance. Now look at him; he's crazy. He's their next franchise quarterback. I feel
with the right system, yes, Brock Purdy is deadly.
Yes, like for them, he's perfect for them. I feel like JJ McCarthy would be that type of scenario for us. That's just how I feel.
Cody, your thoughts on a JJ McCarthy over Bo Nix, possibly late first, second round? Your thoughts on JJ?
Well, I'm kind of the same way. Like, I don't know why the term game manager is such a nasty thing. Like, just don't lose me football games. I care less if I say, you put up Patrick Mahomes numbers. Yeah, that's great. I would love that. But I mean, as long as think if Desmond Ritter was more of a game manager this year and he just didn't lose us games. We're in the playoffs. We win the South this year if he's more of a game manager. I'm not spending first round picks on him though. I'm not late, not early second. Maybe if he's sitting there like where Desmond was in the third, maybe take a flyer on him. Kind of see same thing with Bo. I kind of feel like Bo couldn't get it done in the SEC, so he went to the Pac-12, played with Oregon. So that just kind of tells me, he played great against Pac-12, which is fantastic, but not against competition.
How about that season week 1 opener against some dogs?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, I'm not saying that the Pac-12 isn't good football players. I mean, great players come out of there all the time, but no, I just first round. If you're not taking a Jaden Daniels or some of these other guys, man, I can't see it. Can't see it.
It over.
But don't get me wrong though. My main guy now is Drake May. That's
Drake May.
That's me. But
I like
if it don't happen, it is what it is.
Head over to the chat real quick. Chat's popping off. Shout out to Brandon Keeler. He said, Chase, please share it with Cody. I actually did before the show started. Shout out to Brandon. He has another little girl on the way. Shout out to him. For the ones that don't know, we had my junior reveal yesterday, and we got a little boy on the way, second boy. So happy about that. Very glad that we got another boy headed here to be another Falcon fan. Brandon Keeler said, guys, I think Atlanta is going to surprise us in this draft. Talk so we move up big and got the quarterback. I feel it in my bones. Shout out to, I believe this is William Amy over on Facebook. He says, yo, Michael Penix Jr., and then he says, Brandon Keeler in the comments said, I don't see us signing Cousins. We don't know what we are going to get out of him. $95 million is cap hell from them. It's very true. That is very true. $95 million is a lot. That's why I think the $95 million that was initially pushed out to the public, I think that was his agent trying to get every last dollar that he could get for Kirk Cousins in his last remaining years in the NFL. As we all know, the quarterback price tag is a lot more expensive now that players like Lamar Jackson is getting his big payday. Other players that are really giving the same production that a Lamar Jackson is with only 2 playoff wins, and they want the same amount of money. It's a weird time. Cap space hell in NFL is a real thing, and I think quarterbacks are the reason that teams are in cap space hell is because of the quarterbacks. The whole cap space thing is a rigged system, if you ask me, in the NFL, but that is a steep price for Kirk Cousins. William Amy in the chat said Jaden Daniels. That's the name that I like. Jaden Daniels is a guy we can see here in Atlanta. He's got legs like Sonic the Hedgehog, can lead the pocket quick, can sling the ball. Jaden Daniels is the real deal. Possibly, I've heard there's rumors that he could possibly be number one off the board over Caleb Williams. A lot of things that could happen. Y'all saw our mock draft. If you haven't, go back and check the last podcast we did. Crazy mock draft for
That
DFU.
was funny.
William Amy said, "No, I'm good on Justin Fields."
I'm with you there, brother.
EQRC in the chat shot. EQRC said, "Draft a quarterback is your only choice. Hopefully, he will return into a star." Facts.
That's what I'm wanting. I want a young QB.
Enough with the quarterback situation in Atlanta. Damn it, I'm ready to talk free agents. Are we going receiver? Are we going pass rusher? Philip, starting with you. Give me your big name free agents that could hit in Atlanta. Somebody that could really make a change for this offense or defense this next 2024 season.
Well, one we mentioned yesterday. If it could happen, I'm just throwing out a certain name. It is what it is. If it don't, but I'm gonna name out Brandon Ayuk.
That would be a nice trade. Fortunately, he won't be a free agent, but definitely trade talks.
But apparently, San Fran just don't want to pay him what he wants. So that could possibly be something that maybe I don't see it happening really, but it's a name to throw out there for sure. I'm gonna throw out ex Jaguar, Josh Allen on the just something with the pass rushing, just something I would love to see a lot more than what we had. We had better than what we normally do, but it would just be something that's I feel like would be a spark, And also at the cornerback position, just a little vet type deal. I'm gonna throw in Stephon Gilmore, just
okay.
Maybe to teach up somebody like Clark Phillips or or something like that.
Right.
That's my main three right now. I got a couple others, but I'm gonna give y'all a chance to throw out some names.
Bet you heard Philip's big names free agents that could land here in Atlanta. We're doing this now because this is something that we're going to look back in a couple weeks or months and look and see if some of these names we projected to land here, if they hit, if we were correct. And we will probably on another podcast, because I didn't get the list before the name, but probably on the next podcast, we're going to bring back the show in or out. And we're going to give, if we're in on this player for 2024 or if we're out on them, if we want them to just go ahead and pack their bags and leave Atlanta. That show will be coming up pretty soon, probably the next podcast. But heading over to my boy Cody, give me your big name free agent. And then we got one more subject after your free agents, and we'll get ready to close this thing out.
Yes, sir. So I'm going to throw out two names that Atlanta's very familiar with. First one, Mike Evans from Tampa Bay. I hate watching that man play against us. It seems like in the most critical times, he will catch a ball behind his head, will toe tapping, and just I can't stand it. Now you put on a Falcon uniform and you do that for me. Yeah. Now we're talking. I wouldn't mind seeing Mike Evans come here. I know he's a little bit older. I don't know what the price tag would be on a Mike Evans, but I love. He's like Julio, that big, tough. I can't really think of any really injuries that Mike Evans has had. I know he was hurt for a little while.
He was one of the players to be one of the most consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. Yes. Mike Evans doesn't get hurt, and he's on the edge of the end of his career.
Yep.
A guy that's pretty solid in what he does. Like you said, if you come to the A and put that dirty bird on the back of your shirt,
yep.
Yes, sir, we're cool with a Mike Evans here in Atlanta.
Absolutely, I would say so. That's going to be my first one. Now here's another one. Jaguar. What if the Jaguars don't sign Calvin Ridley? What about a reunion back here in Atlanta?
Come on, baby.
Something I could see. I mean, I'm willing to give up that, to get us, that second round. Bring him back in here. I'm still a little irritated that he wasn't here because he was betting on us to win. Like I could understand your suspension for a whole year if you're betting against the Falcons to lose and you're tanking place and stuff like that. But when you're betting on us to win, that's a dude I want in my locker room because not only is he's putting his money where his mouth is, and so I would love to see Calvin Ridley come back.
That would be huge.
He's tough, he's fast. He's still,
He's route
young.
runner.
He's right there in that prime area for a wide receiver. I think you get him for cheap too. So I would like to
Mhm.
see Calvin. Could it be a possibility as well?
Oh man, a Calvin Ridley back in Atlanta would make my day. Philip, I won't never forget um, season opener for Calvin Ridley. I went and I was in the bottom section row where they come out the tunnel, and guess who was sitting right next to me? Calvin Ridley's mom. So I definitely became a big fan of Calvin Ridley after meeting his mom and realizing how sweet of a lady she was. Got a lot of respect for Calvin Ridley. Would love for Calvin Ridley to end up back in Atlanta.
For sure.
Uh, Big Calvin Ridley fan, and I still believe to this day Julio Jones really put his magic powder dust on Calvin Ridley because he's one of the best route runners in the NFL right now as it is. So would love to see Calvin Ridley end out his career where he started it here in Atlanta. Would be huge. I don't have a banner for this next subject, so we're going to go ahead and talk about it. But I asked you guys to give me at least two players that you want to see from this last draft class take that next step going into year two. Philip, starting with you, could you give me one on offense and maybe one on defense of a top player? And if they're both defense, that's cool, whatever. But give me your two guys that you're hoping for that next step heading into season two.
Because we already know like offensively what our offensive guys really can do. They light it up over there, but on the defensive side, the two young guys, I have two on defense. That's who I say. My first one's gonna be DeMarco Helms. I want to see just with him coming in at the end of the season and then starting them last few games and then all them snaps. And I would just love to see more of that because he was holding it down better than what Richie was. Certain things back there.
Richie.
And then my next pick is Zach Harrison. He lit it up after getting that first sack that at the Colts game that me and you both went to with
Yep.
with our dad. After that, it just his tail end of the season, he just lit it up every game. It seemed like. So I want to see more out of Zach Harrison. But when I say more, he done.
Yeah. You just want to, and that's normal because you want to see that rookie you drafted. Year two is supposed to be the year. That's supposed to be the year that everybody's got it together and you're at the peak of your career. You're ready to go. You've been in the NFL for a year now. You've got the system. I do know we got a new offense coordinator coming in. We do have a new DC coming in, so things may be a little different for some of these guys. That's the bad part. Let's talk about that for a minute. That's the bad part about these new OCs and new DCs. Your players that were doing solid last year, and I don't believe they're going to come in here and shake up things 100%. But the players that were doing good last year, now they have to learn a whole new scheme. I feel like we've seen it in the past. Some players don't always pan out in new schemes. So we've lost players like Deion Jones. He really fit well in a Keanu Neal, those type of guys that fit well in a different defense. And now you're losing another defense coordinator, the guy we just lost, Ryan Nielsen. So I'm hoping this team can keep it going, man. I hope this team can keep it jiving. Definitely want to see a bunch of players in year two. Cody, your two guys for year two. Who do you think to see excel this year?
Yeah, so that was my defensive player was Harrison. Man, I was kind of looking at some of the things, and that's what some of the coaches were saying about him was, man, he just asked the right questions. The way he practiced, he was physical. The way he did things, he just did things the right way.
Right.
He, my thing is too with him is if we wind up not getting Calais Campbell to come back, excellent replacement, especially if he takes that second step, right there next to Grady, right next to Amyamata, all those guys. So, we've talked about him a little bit. So I'll go on to my next guy. Now, this is my wife's favorite player, and he's getting to be one of mine too. He was already great last year. So, I mean, my thing is though, I'm ready to see what Bijan Robinson does year two.
Yes, sir.
Bijan is going to be so dangerous. He's had time to build that NFL durability now. He's got that year one under his belt. You've got Zach Robinson coming in who really, again, we talked about it earlier about how he wants to do what makes players succeed at what they do best. And what
Right.
does Bijan do best? Catching the ball and running that ball. I expect Bijan to be well over 1,000 yards. I could see him almost touching 2. I could see it
Right.
just as fast.
Absolutely.
I mean, man, watch the camera when Bijan. I've watched a lot of running backs in my time watching football. That dude, the elusiveness, the speed, the footwork, it's dirty, man. It is
Yep.
dirty. He is going to snatch ankles and he is going to break tackles. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Bijan can really do with that first year under his belt and take
Right.
that next step under that kind of West Coast, passing him the ball, running the ball. So we'll see what he does.
Facts, man. It's going to be exciting watching Bijan head into his year 2. A guy that did so well in his first year with a subpar offense. I would say the offense was pretty shitty last year. Ready to see a Bijan in a new scheme, in a West Coast spread. Somebody that can get him out there in his receiving yards, his rushing yards as well. Like Cody said, possibly 2K for Bijan Robinson heading into year 2 would be great to see. So much to talk about when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons, man. We can sit here and talk for another 45 minutes about these Dirty Birds, but coming close to the end of the show, we're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap it up. Starting with Philip, give me your shout-outs for today, but hold up one second before you do that shout-out, sir. I apologize. Dirty Fanatics United has a new handle. It's at DFU_ATL. It's no longer Chase_ATL host. So if you're looking for us on YouTube, it's hashtag DFU_ATL, all caps. So if you're looking for us on YouTube, you can type in Dirty Fanatics United or you can type in at DFU_ATL. But with that being said, Philip, shout outs for today. It was a Saturday. It's not a Friday night, so the viewers weren't consistent, kind of like they were on Friday nights. But we had a pretty nice showing of people that came in tonight. And for those that did, shout out to you. Philip, give your shout outs for tonight, brother.
Shout out to everybody that came in here and viewed, commented, or whatever it was, man. We appreciate you, like always. Without y'all, there ain't no us. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody that set the hashtag DFU. Good luck to every single one of you that's gonna be entered in the giveaway.
Hey, y'all heard Philip. Hashtag DFU in the live chat. Tonight's the last night. Hashtag DFU to get the free merch, the free giveaway for the Julio Jones, the free hoodie. We got the white, we got the black. And them shit's crack, baby. So get with the hashtag DFU in the live comment section, man. Shout out to Philip for the edit.
So shout out to everybody out there that set the hashtag. We appreciate it. It helps us and helps us give back to you. So shout out to y'all. Good luck on that. And as always, rise up, baby.
Shout out to Philip, man. Shout out to what he does for the podcast. I heard the man hashtag DFU in the live chat. Tonight is the last night to enter to win for the hashtag DFU. Cody, sir, you've already done so much for this podcast. Start off with you. Give me your shout outs for tonight, brother.
Yes, sir. I would say always starting with the fans watching, like Philip said, without y'all, there is no us. So I appreciate everybody liking, subscribing, doing all that stuff. Like you said, Chase, I would say we're now YouTube, Twitch, right? That's all that stuff's going on now too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So we've got, just keep coming, guys. Just keep subscribing, keep watching. We'll keep doing our thing. We'll keep bringing you Falcon talk, man. Let's say so. Shout out to the fans. Shout out to everybody watching, commenting, doing all that stuff. We love it. Keep bringing it. Always, shout out to our Atlanta Falcons, because if they are not doing their thing, we're definitely not here.
Yes, sir.
Other than that, man, I would say I love it. And shout out to you guys too, man. I would say there's nothing better than being on a Saturday night talking Falcon football with y'all.
Hey, man, much love to Cody. Shout out to Cody for what he does for the channel. Shout out to Cody for mentioning the social sites that we're on. If you haven't already, head over to TikTok. We got a new thing going on TikTok. Dirty Fanatics United is live. So be sure to hit the follow on TikTok. Philip does some edits over there. Getting some nice little views over in the TikTok side of things. So be sure to check us out over there. We need some more followers before we can go live on TikTok. So be sure to do that. Real quick, shout out to everybody that's tuned in tonight, man. We're at 303 subscribers on YouTube, man. Much appreciation to everybody here. We're trying to hit 325, 350 before the end of next month. So if you guys can help us reach our goal, please send us to a Falcon friend, a Falcon fan, somebody that you know that watched podcasts. We had a Steelers fan, I believe, in here last week. So shout out to the Steelers fan, man. Shout out to anybody. If you're not a Falcon fan, you can definitely still tune in here and talk Falcon football with Dirty Fanatics United. We'll still try to convert you into a Falcon fan, but you're welcome to come to the comment section and chat about football. Shout out to everybody in the comment section. Shout out to you, Philip. Shout out to you, Cody. Shout out to the Dirty Birds, man. Shout out to all the new followers. Got some people coming in right as we're getting ready to go, but better late than never. Have a great night, gentlemen. Shout out to LaMarcus Boyd. Hashtag LaMarcus Boyd in the chat, man. Shout out to him with the DFU hoodie on. I believe LaMarcus is from Arizona, so shout out to LaMarcus, always supporting Dirty Fanatics United. One time for the fan in the chat, say, hey, rise up. Be sure to check One Time for the Fan out over on YouTube, Spotify, etc. Another Falcon content creator. Much love to One Time for the Fan. With that being said, man, we get ready to close this thing out over here at Dirty Fanatics United. It's been a great little show, man. Saturday night here at 8 o'clock. Sorry we weren't able to do the Friday night show. Been a little busy. Been a lot of stuff going on here lately, but things are starting to settle on back down for me over on these ends of things. So Dirty Fanatics United will be back live. What do you think, guys? Maybe Monday night. We'll do Monday night at 8. Check Dirty Fanatics United out Monday night at 8. We'll be back talking Dirty Bird Falcon football. You'll catch us Monday night at 8, and then we'll be back Friday night at 8. Check us out on TikTok. Check us out on Facebook groups, Dirty Fanatics United. As always, it's your boy Chase, Philip, and Cody. A-Town down. Rise up.